I'm not saying they need to do all this holding for me, but I'll give you some examples. First off, there was one quest where I had to fight these things called neckers, which are a subterranean sort of creature, and you gotta blow up their hives or something like that. But before that, they're like, research more about the neckers. You know, and I didn't realize right away that you can actually skip this step and just go around murdering them until eventually, just by trial and error, you know, Geralt figures it out. But let's say you wanted to do the research beforehand. Where would you go, you think? Maybe the town library? Well, the town's huge, and outside of the tavern and some sort of blacksmith way off in the corner in the middle of the ass crack of the town, nobody has signs saying, you know, ye old library or anything. But yeah, you would figure, you know, subterranean creature, I'm gonna go to some dusty old library and figure out a bit more about these creatures, or maybe talk to the town alchemist or something. Maybe talk to my dwarven buddy, whatever, you know. You're supposed to go talk to, and I only found this out by eventually checking up, like, a walkthrough, was you're supposed to go talk to some sort of fisherman, because clearly the guy, like, the bum, the drinking bum on the side of the docks by the water, he's a master of knowing all about these subterranean creatures, you know. Can you, like, there's such a logic flaw there that, you know, if at the very least they gave you a pointer saying, go here, it'd feel kind of weird, like, how did he know to go there? But at least he didn't feel like you were wasting all your time figuring this out. Another good one was, basically I was doing this one quest where this troll's wife gets killed off, and he wants revenge, you know, and then he'll stop being an alcoholic, and you'll feel good about yourself and all that stuff. And then it's like, find out what happened to the she-troll. Well, we know that people killed her, but what more? Okay. So I can't go up to just random people and be like, I'm gonna investigate. Do you know what happened to the she-troll? No, instead everybody kind of just spouts off their 1 or 2 lines of regular dialogue. What you're supposed to do is talk to your dwarven buddy, who never up to this point has mentioned anything about being a troll aficionado. And there's so many NPCs that, like, are you really going to run through and talk to every single one every time you have a quest, just in the small chance that they're going to tell you something that you already know, which you pretty much did. You know, oh, well, you know, sometimes humans like to kill trolls because they're scared of them and they make nice trophies. And then, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to bust into everyone's house and look for a troll head. There's a ton of houses. Now, if this was like old school Diablo or even Diablo 2, where there's like only like 7 NPCs and the town's fairly small, that'd be okay. But this game, it's huge. What, I'm gonna bust into every single person's house? What I eventually did was I just got sick of doing the quest, worked on some other quest, and it just so happened like accidentally bumped into the house. It just, you're spinning your wheels, and you can tell, like, this isn't fun. That's the problem. Like, is it realistic? Maybe, but it's not fun, and that's kind of why I play video games. Also, you'll notice I keep on saying I go, you know, online to figure out what's going on. Well, what about this quest handbook? Well, this quest handbook is written exactly in the same style as the friggin' quests are given to you, and it only deals with the main quest. You know, and like, let's say I got a strategy guide from Bradley Games, okay? They do a lot of strategy guides if you've never played with any of their games before. They pretty much just say, go to this person. They'll have check marks. They'll do like any sane person. This one, if I may. We awoke beside our beloved Triss Marigold, and it seems that the day shall be very pleasant one. Our plans, however, were foiled by an uninvited guest, a Temerian soldier who informed us that King Foltest wished to see us. After a quick chat with the sorceress, fuck, nobody cares. You know what I mean? I'm gonna play the game, the game's gonna give me this info. Give me the fucking Coles notes, please, and thank you. God, we killed trees for this. Trees. You know, I'm not that PC, but shit. Also, gaming itself. Like, let's say, you know, the controls weren't crap. And, you know, this was truly, indeed, you know, set up with a usable interface. Because I know Mass Effect 3, I like that game up until the ending. And there's a lot of things in the game that piss me off, but this is about Witcher 2 here. Their quest interface sucked, but I still managed to enjoy that game because it had stuff like balance. In this game, there are 3 tech trees that you can basically advance through after you've made it past level 6 or whatever and can start spending points on stuff. There's sword play, magic, and alchemy. You're only going to ever use, if you're a competent player, sword play and magic, because alchemy is absolutely useless. Because here, I'll give you the example. What's easier? Is it easier to A, gain levels and then spend all the points you gain in improving your sword skill, or gain levels, improve your alchemy skill, go around foraging for herbs and slay some monsters for, like, I don't know, neck or blood or whatever, waste a bunch of time in the menus combining that stuff, get potions that increase your sword skill, okay? So the potion kind of does what putting the skills would have originally done for you, except it only does it temporarily, and you can't drink potions during combat. So you just kind of sort of need to know, oh, gee whiz, you know, I may have to use my sword in the future, and kind of then chug potions beforehand. Sword one makes sense. That was the potion I kept on using, because all the other potions, unless you're playing on a PC and have quick save and quick reload, because it's not so much planning for the monster, so much as you went ahead a certain point and got killed off by something, and then you reload, and then you know what's ahead, but it's not like somebody was like, oh, beware the orcs that are ahead. They're weak to poison. Or, you know, you would know about their weakness to poison. No, it's, you go up ahead, you get butchered by orcs, you know, if it is a particularly big mob, and then you reload and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll equip it with my orc bane, you know, drink the potion that makes me good at magic because they're weak to magic, or whatever. And all these bonuses are temporary, whereas take the points, stick them in the sword skill, bypass the middleman and all the busy work. And I've heard some people saying, well, it increases the challenge of the game. The game itself shouldn't have artificial challenge settings like that, especially if you're new to a game and you don't know this precognitively and you want to build like some sort of alchemist character build or something. That's like, okay, let's go back to Mass Effect. Imagine the soldier class was easily the best class in the game, you know, of the 6 classes. Why would you play any other class if everybody knew that the soldier class was excellent? You know, because it's more challenging to play as a Vanguard, and I like challenge. Well, that's what the difficulty setting is for. Whenever I put it to difficult, it should be difficult, you know, regardless of what kind of class I choose. I shouldn't feel like certain classes are intrinsically difficult for the sake of being difficult. Like, they should feel difficult because, oh, maybe it's not suited to my play style, or something like that. It's like me playing, let's say, Mario. Well, if I want more challenge, well, I'm going to put on a blindfold. It's not like I'm going to choose control setting B, where it suddenly reverses the controls and makes it more difficult arbitrarily for me. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is I've never used alchemy. All the fights always tend to devolve into mostly swords with occasionally magic, and there was only 2 spells I ever really used. One, kind of like a force push thing, which is useful for if they have shields, and it also kind of stuns them, gives you a slight chance of basically doing a one-hit kill. And the other one being a trap spell, which is absolutely perfect because the AI is retarded in this game. So much for best, you know, RPG ever. Basically, every enemy has a zone, and let's say you're just outside of that zone, right? So basically, you have this zone area, and the minute you walk into the zone, and all the monsters, by the way, are mobs. There's only like 1 or 2 monsters that are solos, and one of them is kind of a quest monster, so you can't even, well, you can kill him, but it kind of feels like you're cheating. It's like killing the mayor who's supposed to give you money. You kind of feel like, oh, I kind of broke the game here. Or you run away from them, or they're the boss battle that's meant more to be kind of a puzzle boss than an actual, oh, he's a really challenging individual boss. So yeah, majority of the game, mobs. Why I say this one spell that acts as a trap is effective because you walk into the zone, lay down traps, whether they be magical or actual mechanical traps in nature, and then you just, you know, let them come to you. They'll run like retard right into the trap, regardless of whether they're monsters or humans. Humans, the only difference is they got a sword in their hand as they run at you like a retard. Step right into the trap. It's not even hidden in the bushes or anything. And then you take 2 steps out of their zone. You're literally like spitting distance of these people, but since you're out of their zone, they're like, he's too far. And then they kind of march back to the center of their zone and continue playing with themselves, and their health doesn't come back or anything like that. So they just stand back in, reset your traps, walk back out. Now you may say I'm just breaking the game at this point, but for greatest RPG ever, maybe you guys should have actually fixed this, made this non-issue. Like, once you step in the zone, they will persecute you until you're dead. I mean, it's not the most complex AI ever, but it's slightly more believable than the AI that walks away because you stepped over the fucking invisible line. It's like, oh, we can't cross that line. Another example of really dumb AI was one of the few mini-bosses. You do this quest where you gotta kill off these crab spider things, and then if you piss off the crab spider things, they'll send the crab spider queen, who materializes out of nowhere. It's not like, oh, she climbs down the tree and it's like, da-da-da-da, getting ready for this battle. No, she just fucking materializes with magical pixie dust. If you're slightly to the right of her, of course she'll turn right and try to bite you and all this stuff. But I found out if you get in this perfect sweet spot where it's behind them, they can't decide whether they want to go left or right to turn and face you. So instead they'll kind of just stand there, and you can just smack on their ass all day, play bongos with their thorax until they fucking die. Really shitty AI. And that's the thing, is I could say maybe this would be passable, like most people wouldn't notice this, but for a game that got 88% on Metacritic, I think that score needs to be a bit lower, like a 70, maybe a 60, after I tell you some of this other stuff, this other BS. Final thing I want to mention about the potions, going back to those. You have two types of things. Like, you have the potions, which you can only drink out of combat, and you kind of have to be precognitive to know what's going on. And then you have oils, which are like things that you coat your weapon with. I don't know what takes longer for a girl, but for as far as I'm concerned, taking this and chugging, let's say, this water, which would be the amount of fluid in a potion, versus taking out my sword and coating it with ink or poison, I think the coating with the oilish poison would take longer. Yet, you can only drink the potions out of combat, and the oils, you can do it mid-combat. Like, mid-swing, pause, I'm going to open up my menu, coat my blade in, like, 3 different types of deadly oil. Like, how does that work? If anything, these should be reversed, especially since oils don't play nearly as integral as the whole potions alchemy aspect.